What's up, everybody? I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching The Sit Down. ISO Joe is in the house. It's Joe Johnson, seven-time All-Star. What's up, man? How are you?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Listen, the Big Three has been awesome for you. You've been dominating the league for a couple of years now. What have been some of the best parts of the experience this year?
This year, just being fortunate enough to, be able to compete. We've been through so much, as a country over the past, year and a half, 2 years. So to finally get a chance to come out and compete and have fans come to the game, I think it's been awesome.
When you think about some of the guys you've played with in the big three, who are some of your favorites that you've interacted with so far?
Teammates or guys that I played against?
Why don't we start with teammates first?
Teammates, me and Gennaro Pargo, we played college ball together. So, we always in contact. We're always talking. We always trying to come up with a game plan, and we always working out together. So, that's always comforting. But I know so many guys on all other teams because a few of them live in Atlanta, and we play pickup together. We work out together. So it's all been fun.
Who are some of those other guys that have been good competition for you so far?
Josh Smith, Jared Jack, Murphy, the Murphy kid that plays for the Three-Headed Monsters, Josh Powell. So it's been guys that I've, been playing against or playing with over the past few summers. And, it's fun to get to come out here on the big stage on CBS, man, and compete.
When you think about your basketball journey, there's all these different chapters here. What does it mean to you that you're still playing hoops after all these years when you first started as a kid?
It's my first love, man. So, I value that. And just because I'm not playing in the NBA doesn't mean I still can't, play basketball at a high level. So, I just take care of my body, control what I can control, and I just try to go out there and compete and have fun.
I think this league's a lot of fun because obviously people that folks will know, it's the game a little bit differently. It's half court. Why do you think this resonates so much? Why do you think people like it?
Because it's entertaining, man. It's not as easy, as it may look or people may seem. If you're in shape, you'll be all right. But for me, I grew up playing in the Hoop Fest. That was 3-on-3. Me and my best friends, we played in that coming up when we was about 13, 14, and we won that. So to get a chance to do this, I got to thank Ice Cube, man, for putting this league together, because if it weren't for him, this platform we wouldn't have.
No question about it. Yeah, he's really done a lot of great things, especially with this league. And you did a lot of great things in your NBA career. I mean, you had all these different parts of it. What do you think is the craziest part when you think back on it? The ability to make so many All-Star games, the ability to keep it going for so long, to be on so many great teams. What sticks out to you the most about your career?
Yeah, I would say the longevity, playing 18 seasons, because it's such a toll on your body, man. And if you don't do the necessary things you need to do to keep your body strong, then you eventually break down. You know what I mean? So for me, it's the longevity and just enjoying the game.
Can you take us back to those early days? I mean, who was Joe Johnson getting to Boston, putting on a Celtics uniform for a little while there?
Man, that was so surreal to me, to get drafted, by the Celtics and, get a chance to play with Antoine Walker, Paul Pierce, Kenny Anderson. Man, those guys looked out for me, and they showed me how to be a pro. My rookie year was kind of a blur. I was having so much fun, just excited, living out the dream, that honestly, man, it was hard for me to sleep at night. I couldn't really sleep at night because I'd be looking so forward to the next day and what was to come or who we was playing. And then that same year, MJ came back with the Wizards, and I was geeked, man. I couldn't wait.
What was the craziest part about that experience?
Okay, so we played against the Wizards in preseason, and it was cool. He didn't play much, but he played. I got a chance to guard him. But like the 4th, 5th game of the season, we played the Wizards, and I was starting actually, and he was my matchup. So that was it was shocking, but I went out there and competed my butt off and had fun with it.
That must have been pretty surreal, right? I mean, Jordan's the guy growing up, and then you're going up against him. That's crazy, man.
That was a legendary moment, man. I remember everything about, that day, that game, and just playing against them and competing. Yeah, that was a dream come true.
So I think you obviously realize this, but when you have a special situation in the NBA, those teams maybe a little bit more fondly remember them. And Phoenix was like the beginning of how basketball is now, and you were such a big part of that. So what stands out the most about your time in Phoenix when you think about it?
My time in Phoenix, I was lost when I first got traded there from Boston because I didn't understand why I got traded. I thought I was playing pretty well, and that was why I got traded because I created some value. I created some value for myself, and they kind of just set me down until they traded me. So it took me a while to kind of figure that out. But when I got to Phoenix, playing with Stephon Marbury, Penny Hardaway, Sean Marion. I mean, that was another ideal moment for me, and playing with one of my idols in Penny Hardaway. It was a fun moment. I only got a chance to play 1 year with Nash, man. That was his first MVP year, and we were awesome. It's just, I think back on those days because that's probably, the only time I really, really, really felt like I had a chance to win a title.
You think that was the best team that you were on with Nash in that MVP year?
Yeah, no question. We man, because it happened so organically, like me, Sean, Amari, we was already there, and they went and signed Quentin Richardson and Steve Nash. And I don't know if D'Antoni, knew he was going to start all of us like that, but it happened, and man, it was a blessing.
Yeah, and you had that bad injury, right? The one postseason.
Yeah, I had that bad injury in the playoffs that cost me to miss the first 2 games of the Western Conference Finals. And we had home court advantage throughout the whole playoffs. So we lose those first 2 games at home, trying to go to San Antonio and win 2 games. That's going to be almost impossible. But, I came back I think it was game 4. And I think we won game 4. But they was already up on us like 2-1, 3-1. And it was tough. They closed us out in Phoenix.
Yeah, listen, man, San Antonio was so tough for so many years, and things obviously ended up working out for you. Go ahead.
They won it that year.
Yeah, they were that good. I mean, you guys had a great team, but they were just at another level that
year. Yeah, they were awesome, man. Fundamentally sound, playing great team basketball. Yeah, they were tough.
So you had your time in Phoenix, and then you go to Atlanta, and I feel like in Atlanta you really blossomed there. So how did you take your game to the next level in Atlanta?
Well, it was a learning curve for me when I got to Atlanta, trying to learn how to lead, be the leader, be more vocal with basically a lot of young guys. So it took us like a year or so to kind of get things rolling. But once we got it rolling, man, we was a fun team to watch.
And Atlanta's a good spot too. I mean, you saw what Trae Young and the guys did this year. Atlanta was hopping this year, man.
Man, they were awesome, bro. But it shows you, a small little injury, man. Like Trae Young stepping on the referee's foot. You never know, man. They could have been in the Eastern Conference Finals. Man.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, listen, they could have been playing against the Suns. They
could have been in the finals. They could have been in the finals. So that's just tough, man. That's tough. But they had an awesome run. I'm sure that catapult those guys going into next season. More confidence, knowing that they're one of the top teams in the East. They just got to believe it.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of confidence, how much did it help your confidence when you became a guy that was routinely going to the All-Star game? Because I feel like that puts you up on the next level. How did that change things for you?
Yeah, after the first one, after you make the first All-Star game, like for me, after my first one, I made five in a row because it gives you a whole different sense of confidence knowing that you're one of the elites in the league. And knowing that you have to step your game up, man, and that's all it does. You get a chance to spend 4 or 5 days around the top players in the NBA, and it rubs off on you. It gives you, a sense of confidence, a sense of arrival, so to speak.
Who was the first guy who called you ISO Joe, by the way? How long has that nickname been around?
Man, you know what? I will be honest. I have no clue. I don't know if it really started in Brooklyn. I think it may have did start in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure who was the first one to call me that. It may have been a commentator. I'm not even sure.
Well, speaking of Brooklyn, man, you had some nice years there. I mean, listen, that was a talented team too. You had KG and Pierce a little bit later at the end of their careers. I mean, that's got to be a what if also, because that was a pretty talented group. Obviously, Miami was doing their thing, but what do you think about when you think of Brooklyn?
Brooklyn was awesome. It was great, man. You're right. We had the tools, we had the players to to make it to the finals, maybe, I mean, even win it. But we did. We came up short. We started off 15 games under 500 that year, and we was on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
The city's under new construction. 15 games under 500.
Hey, so for me, that was a tough, embarrassing moment to start the season. We was like 5-15 or 5-20. It was something crazy like that. But then, things happen. Brooke Lopez breaks his foot, and Darren Williams get hurt. And however we made it happen, we was able to get 2-3 games above 500, and now we're in the playoffs, and it just kind of went from there.
When I think about the other parts of your career, whether it's Miami or Utah, even the short time in Houston, like you really had to change and adapt your game as time went on. How did you think about that, especially with three-point shooting? There were times where you shot it great. There were times where you didn't shoot it great, but you always found a way to improve. So how did you think about that each offseason?
You know what? Those stops were fun. I think in Houston for me, I hurt my wrist, my shooting hand. I hurt my wrist in Utah early that year. It cost me to miss, 8 weeks. And I was just rehabbing, coming back. And like 2 weeks after I came back, I left Utah and signed with Houston. But, my wrist wasn't all the way healed. It wasn't strong enough. So I didn't really have a lot of confidence in shooting and playing with CP and James. Those are the two primary ball handlers. You just got to be ready to shoot when they kick it to you. And I wasn't great. So I know D'Antoni probably, he took a lot for not playing me in the playoffs, but it was probably the right call because I didn't really, like I said, my wrist was so weak, man. I didn't really have a lot of confidence in shooting, but I could make plays.
You always found a way to make plays. You're still making plays in the big three. Joe, thanks for hanging out, man. It's been great meeting you, chatting with you, and we'll talk again down the road, all right?
Thanks, man.